Hello everyone, Andy Wolverton back again with a look at the new releases in film noir on Blu-ray for the month of August 2021. If you'd like to see what came out in June and July, I will link to those videos in the description below. Now, you may be disappointed that we don't have a lot of film noir from the classic era to talk about today, but I do have some nice neo-noir, international noir, and a television series to tell you about. So let's get started. On August the 4th, we kick things off with The Sniper from 1952, directed by Edward Dmytryk, and this comes to us from Umbrella Entertainment, an Australian company, and this is a Region B release. The Sniper not only stands as an effective film noir, but also a social commentary on how society treats the mentally disturbed. Eddie Miller, played by Arthur Franz, a man recently released from a psych ward, has serious issues with women, particularly a club singer named Jean, played by Marie Windsor. Miller definitely displays violent tendencies towards women and knows he needs help, but can he stop himself? The portrayal of a sex offender, combined with some very frank scenes of violence, make for an effective and shocking experience, especially for the early 1950s. This was also the first American film made by Edward Dmytryk after his exile as a result of the blacklist. The Sniper displays much of the callousness we'd come to see from policemen on screen in subsequent decades. It's a terrific film. Right now, this is the only way you can own this title as an individual release. Now, if you own the Columbia Noir No. 3 box set from Indicator, you already have this film and don't really need this one. But if you only want The Sniper, know that the Umbrella disc contains the Martin Scorsese introduction as well as the Eddie Muller commentary, both of which are on the Indicator release. Again, this Umbrella release is a Region B. Now, we jump all the way to August the 23rd, so not a lot going on between those two dates, and we go to Maigret, the complete series from Network, another UK company. This is a Region B set that is 12 discs. So the Belgian writer Georges Simenon was one of the most prolific writers of the 20th century. Simenon wrote hundreds of books, including those featuring his famous detective, Jules Maigret, a character who accounted for 75 novels and 28 short stories. Quite a lot. As you might imagine, Maigret has been portrayed by many actors of many different nationalities: French, British, Irish, Austrian, German, Italian, Dutch, Japanese, and Russian. But according to Simenon himself, the best of the bunch was Rupert Davies. You might remember Davies from The Spy Who Came in from the Cold, the 1965 film. Simenon said of Davies, "At last, I have found the perfect Maigret." Davies plays the famous detective in Maigret, the complete series, which, starting with this pilot episode, ran on British television from 1959 to 1963. That series has been largely unseen over the past 50 years, but is now available in this new box set from Network. Again, this is a UK company, and they do a great job of releasing British cinema and television. This is undoubtedly their biggest undertaking yet. All 52 episodes of the show, plus the 90-minute feature, all on 12 Blu-rays, lasting over 46 hours, almost 2 solid days of viewing. So now, what's in the set? In addition to the episodes, you've got an exclusive new book on the making of the series by Andrew Pixley, an original soundtrack DVD, and a set of art cards. Any other on-disc supplements seem unlikely, but maybe they're working on a few. This looks to be a fantastic release. Now, the price for this set is £85, which comes to about $120 without international shipping. Now, that's a lot if you're taking a chance on this series, but if you've read any of the books or seen any of the other film adaptations and enjoy those, you're probably going to enjoy this series. Now, if the price bothers you, consider that you're getting 52 episodes plus a feature. Not counting the feature film, that comes out to about $2.40 per episode. I'm going to hold off for now, but if the price drops a bit, I'll definitely pick it up. But remember, this is a limited edition. Network may eventually come out with a standard edition without the bells and whistles, so you may want to wait for that. The network website states that this set works for regions A, B, and C, so I hope that's the case. I will be keeping an eye on that. August 24th also kicks off a string of mostly international noir and neo-noir titles that I'm very excited about. We have Ashes and Diamonds from 1958, directed by Andrzej Wajda, and this comes from Criterion. Now, director Andrzej Wajda is not only frequently considered the most important and greatest film director Poland ever produced, but also one of the greatest in the world, producing several films considered to be masterpieces. Ashes and Diamonds was only his fourth film, but it's the one that put him on the map. Here we find Poland celebrating the final day of World War II as the Soviets are right around the corner, though. An official, a Soviet-backed secretary of the Polish Workers' Army named Sztuka, comes to town to take charge while the Poles are celebrating. Meanwhile, a home army soldier named Maciek is ordered to assassinate Sztuka. But he kills the wrong man and is determined to correct his mistake until a young barmaid named Christina comes along, making him doubt whether another assassination attempt is such a good idea. There's much more going on here, most of which I will leave for you to discover. The film is based on a 1948 novel written by Jerzy Andrzejewski, and what's interesting is that the novel supported the communist takeover in Poland. But Wajda decided to make some drastic changes for this film, focusing largely on Maciek's story. Maciek is played by Zbigniew Cybulski, who became known as the Polish James Dean. The authorities at the time prevented Wajda from showing this film at the Cannes Film Festival, where it would have reached a global audience. But Wajda was allowed to show it at the Venice Film Festival, where it won the International Federation of Film Critics Award. The film has gone on to appear on many lists of the greatest films of the 20th century. Now, clearly, I care about this film a lot and am delighted to see it finally get a Blu-ray release from the Criterion DVD that came out several years ago. This release also includes archival interviews with Wajda and others, an archival commentary by critic Annette Ensdorf from 2004, a new video essay, also with Ensdorf, and a behind-the-scenes newsreel and a printed essay by film scholar Paul Coates. I do hope you will check this one out. Next, we have The Clockmaker of St. Paul from 1974, directed by Bertrand Tavernier. Philippe Nourier plays Michel Ducombe, a Lyon watchmaker whose teenage son has been arrested for murder. The local police inspector, played by Jean Rochefort, doesn't so much hound Michel for information as much as he tries to befriend him, while Michel constantly wonders what he did wrong as a father. One of the things that sets this film apart from so many other crime pictures is that we don't follow the victim or the perpetrator, but rather the perpetrator's father, who's trying to come to grips with the entire situation. Again, there's much going on here that is understated. My first experience with filmmaker Bernard Tavernier, whom we lost back in March. The Kino edition includes an introduction by filmmaker Walter Hill, an audio commentary by Tavernier, an interview with Tavernier and Philippe Nourier, and a booklet with excerpts from Tavernier's memoir. An excellent film, another one that I hope you'll check out. Next, we have Prince of the City from 1981, directed by Sidney Lumet. This comes to us from Warner Archive. Now, Prince of the City may be more of a crime drama than a film noir, but noir fans will undoubtedly want to experience the film. Based on the Robert Daley nonfiction book of the same name, Treat Williams plays Daniel Cielo, a NYPD narcotics detective working in special investigations. Daniel and his partners are referred to as princes of the city due to their unstructured methods and the untouchable status afforded them in capturing and convicting criminals. This would be interesting enough by itself, but Daniel has a brother who's a drug addict and a cousin who's involved in organized crime. Even so, Daniel has bigger problems, primarily when he's approached by the feds to investigate police corruption. This film has a very interesting behind-the-scenes history, which you can read on its Wikipedia page, which I will link to in the notes. But it would be great if the Blu-ray contains some extras exploring its background. Even if it doesn't, this looks like a great release. On August 30th, we have Jagged Edge from 1985, directed by Richard Marquand. This comes to us from Indicator, a UK Region B release. When high-profile publisher Jack Forrester, played by Jeff Bridges, is accused of murdering his wife, an equally high-profile attorney named Teddy Barnes, played by Glenn Close, takes the case and wins it. Short movie, right? No. Along the way, Teddy falls for Forrester, but suspects she may have acquitted a murderer. The film boasts a great cast, including Robert Loggia, Peter Coyote, Lee Taylor-Young, and John Daner. But the script by Joe Esterhaas has some believability issues. Yet, it's still a good noir suspense title. The film is directed by Richard Marquand, who also directed the espionage thriller Eye of the Needle from 1981, but will probably always be remembered for directing Return of the Jedi. This release from UK label Indicator is Region B locked and features new interviews with Joe Esterhaas, editor Sean Barton, and David Huckavale discussing the John Barry score. This limited edition also includes a booklet with a new essay by writer and critic Maitland McConaughey, excerpts from archival interviews with Marquand, the making of the film, contemporary critical responses, and full film credits. Jagged Edge was previously released on Blu-ray from Image in 2011, having only a trailer as an extra, so this is a nice upgrade. Again, Region B only. Next, we have The Fifth Horseman is Fear from 1965, directed by Zbigniew Berinek. This comes to us from Second Run, also a UK company, also a Region B disc. Now, I first saw The Fifth Horseman is Fear at the 2020 Virtual Noir City International Festival. Maybe you caught it there too. And of all the outstanding films I saw for that event, this was probably my favorite first-time watch. This Czech New Wave film stars Miroslav Makasek, who plays Dr. Braun, a Jewish doctor living in a rundown apartment complex in Nazi-occupied Prague. But Braun doesn't want anyone to know he's a physician, since Jewish doctors are forbidden to practice medicine. As far as his neighbors and the authorities know, Braun is a man who spends his days cataloging the confiscated possessions of his countrymen who've been sent to the death camps. Just imagine identifying and cataloging all the items housed from the final scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you begin to get the idea. Yet, when you think about the number of people these possessions come from, it's staggering. When a wounded resistance fighter stumbles into his building, Braun knows that the man's pain will become so intense he'll begin screaming, which will alert the authorities to his presence. During the brief time the man is asleep, Braun will have to go out and find some contraband morphine, placing himself in further jeopardy. The film is loaded with one brilliant scene after the other, making use of high-contrast black and white cinematography by Jan Calais, and one of the most effective musical scores, a combination of classical, jazz, and avant-garde by Juri Sternwald. The Fifth Horseman is Fear is a surreal, frightening look at oppression, occupation, and the noir elements of paranoia, dread, betrayal, and fear. This is a totally absorbing film. Please consider picking this one up. And we finish up on August the 31st with an Alain Delon double feature. The Gang from 1977 and Three Men to Kill from 1980. Both films directed by Jagged Edge. This comes to us from the Cohen Media Group. Now, these are two films I've never seen, but I'm intrigued. The Gang takes place at the end of World War II with 5 small-time criminals, led by Delon, knocking over several banks, wondering if they'll ever be caught. I'm thinking they might be. Three Men to Kill finds Delon as a professional card player who decides to help a wounded man lying in the road after a car crash, little realizing that he's setting himself up as a target for 2 hired gunmen. Three Men to Kill seems more noirish of the 2 films and probably the more suspenseful. There's no information on extras, so I'm assuming there are none. So that's going to do it for August. But if there are any additions in the meantime, I will update that in the notes below. Please check out my website and the links below for all the new releases from previous months. And thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.